Welcome to Whachacha's Tabletop World, a channel devoted to the love of board gaming. My name is Sweetness Whachacha, and today this is my overview of 5 Minute Mystery. If you'd like to see my thoughts on the game, click on the link below. First off, I should mention there are no spoilers here. Even though this is a mystery game, there's no definitive answer to any one case. Well, there is, but it's repeatable, so there's no one-time story effect you're going to ruin for yourself. Now, firstly, let's take a look at what comes with the game. Firstly, you're going to get some cases, and they're going to come in 3 different varieties. You're going to get easy, medium, and hard. They're going to include a time limit that you have to complete, the case in, and then basically your win condition here. Sometimes they'll also have, special rules, or, you'll be able to take some items and things ahead of time. So there's a number of different cases, and there are rules in the instructions where you'll kind of like select a few of these at random and create like sort of a little mini campaign of up to 5 of these different games. You're also going to get a set of suspect cards. You're going to split these evenly among the players, and it's not a secret or anything. You can show anybody your hand at any time, really. But you're going to notice some attributes here. So like this Quentin here, he's got fur, and if you look in the background, you can see the different, the different backdrop here. So you can see he's got scales, he's got fur. So at a quick glance, you could just tell there if you were unsure. But you'll see there's a few things, like he's got a flower and a newspaper, he's got an umbrella, he's got a scarf. Other characters might have hat or purse. So they're all going to have these different attributes to them. Now you're also going to have a matching culprit here, and you're going to put this out at the beginning of the game, and that's going to be the one individual you're trying to find. So each of the characters will have a matching culprit piece, and that's again the goal of the game. Well, the goal of some scenarios. The game also comes with extra suspects and culprits. Okay, and these are for 5 and 6 players, just to maintain that same level of difficulty. And you'll notice these because they have the purple background. So if you're not playing with 5 or 6, you'll take them out. But don't forget to take out their matching culprits, or you will have you kind of ruin your own game for you. You'll also get 4 different categories of clues. So they're color coded on the back, so you see they're different. So for instance, this one will be their skin, whether they've got skin, fur, scales, or feathers, and then different items that they might have on their person, gloves, fan, monocle, and glasses, scarf, flowers, hat, and necklace, and so on and so forth. When you earn a clue, so let's say you've earned this one from the top of the stack here, you'll notice you can kind of link it up here to the culprit, and then you'll see these do not match. They're not a matching set here, meaning the culprit does not have feathers. You could then go through your hand and get rid of anybody that doesn't have feathers. If they do have feathers, well, then you can keep the feathered ones and then get rid of obviously everyone that is not feathered. They do have a reference card here which has all of the items and the classifications, so how they're color coded here on the reference sheet. Lastly, you're going to have this device here, which is a spinning thing here, and it has all these different symbols on it. And you're going to get this deck of locations that's throughout the museum, and you'll just take the top card. There's quite a bit of these actually, and you'll draw from the top of the deck when you're ready to play, when you start your game, and you're just going to be looking for these symbols. So I can see there's a triangle here, and if you look at the reference sheet, the bottom half that we were looking at before, it will show you all of the symbols on there. And so if you look like this symbol is this symbol, so you could just turn it to that. Then you'll be looking around, okay, I see another one, a star in there, so you'll turn it to that. There's this cross right here, and so on and so forth. When you feel that you found all of the symbols on the card, you'll be able to turn it over and see how well you did, whether you might have made a mistake or not, and I'll kind of go into that in just a moment. And of course, not included in the game box is going to be, you're going to have to use your cell phone or some other timer that you may have handy to keep track of the time limit of the game. And as you can see, as I mentioned before, there are different time limits depending on the case. I know it's called 5 Minute Mystery, but c'est la vie. So depending on which scenario you're playing, let's take the opening one here that they recommend playing first. So it says catch at 1 culprit. Sometimes there's more than 1 culprit, so you'll randomly take one of the culprits. You'll set your timer, so this in this case 9 minutes here, and then you'll go. One player will kind of be in charge of this device. Everybody will get, as they say, so this is like 2 players, or kind of the suspects will get divided equally between everyone. Again, not private information. And then you will start the timer and go. And then players will be looking at this, trying to find the symbols and calling them out. you have to figure out your best way of doing so. Like this one is like across the cross, but it's got the X's on it, surrounding 3 sides of it. So then whoever's in charge of this will turn it to that, and you're just, feverishly quickly, here's a star with 2 little stars at the top, and then this player will be listening, and they can look at the card as well. And, but mainly somebody's going to be kind of in charge of this. So once you have all the symbols on there, let's say we just did that, you'll flip it over. If you were matching, you would get to reveal a token. Now, if you don't match, then you don't get anything. You kind of wasted some time, which is unfortunate. Now, if you do, you can pick from one of these different things. So depending on what you have left in your hand, or maybe what you want to do for the scenario, there might be some special rules there. You'll pick one of these things. And again, you can look at the card here. If you have a lot of people with necklaces or so forth, you feel like you want to get rid of those, then let's say we wanted a token here, a clue token, we would take this, you would put it here, and you would see, okay, that's not a match. They do not have a newspaper. So you get rid of all the cards that have newspapers, as I said before. So you'll keep going through rooms of the museum, looking for those symbols, trying to unlock the clues, checking them against your culprit and seeing if they match or don't match. And of course, any other things that might be on the scenario card. So if you've only got one culprit, then when you're ready, you feel like you know who it is, then you'll make an arrest. And of course, you will then flip over the culprit and see if you are correct or not. If you are not correct, well, you have lost. If you are correct, of course, you've won. If you're playing to catch multiple culprits, you will make an arrest, and then, and then you'll continue to do so, hoping to get all of the culprits. Now, if you run out of time, which is the other thing, of course, that can happen, you get one last chance. You just stop the timer, and you'll look and you'll try to figure out, hey, look, who do we think it is? And you probably at that point don't have perfect information, so you'll do the best you can, and you take kind of a stab in the dark, a little bit of an educated guess to try to win the game. So lastly, there's just a few sorts of things that you might want to consider while you're playing, or what makes a difference while you're playing. Number one, whoever's got this, you've got to communicate the information very quickly to them. There are some symbols on here. They're a bit hard to describe. It's like a triangle with spikes off of one side. It's maybe not quite as clear as it could be. It's a cross within a cross. Well, there's 2 of them. So you probably want to have a good system and a good teamwork and a good communication, some communication set up so that you can quickly relate that information, because you are under the gun and you're maybe not thinking that clearly because you're a little panicked, or you're trying to move very quickly. So that's one thing. The other thing is, like, when you're looking at the cards, do you look all over the thing? Do you concentrate, or do you exhaust each area in turn? So, that's another thing, like, how quickly do you go through them? And then, of course, the meat of it is to figure out the suspect. Now, you want to get clues. Of course, what's the best clue to get? Well, I have a lot of people with this, one certain attribute. We go through that deck to try to get rid of those characters. When you get to lesser and lesser people, of course, you could look through and say, hey, I've got a lot of reptiles here. Let's see if this is the skin type that matches them. Something like that, but you're moving so quickly that you don't have the time to really calculate perfectly. So you're just there is some strategy in there, as to how to pick those clues, which clues to go after, but you're working very quickly. And then, of course, when it comes to little pictures of these guys and gals, it's pretty easy to accidentally maybe get rid of one. You think, oh, they don't have a hat, or they don't have, well, maybe that's a bad option. But pocket watch or some glasses, maybe they might be tucked in, maybe they might be on their head. There's, of course, the monocle. So you might think, oh, that's a monocle. That's glasses. So it's very easy to overlook some of these things as well. So that's another bit of strategy that you have to do. And even when you're reading the little culprit and the clue thing, when you put them up against each other, you got to remember to really look at that and make sure it's accurate. So these are all things that you're doing while you're playing, trying not to make any errors, and trying to work as a team quite well to find everything very speedily. As always, I like to mention the solo mode. The solo mode plays exactly the same as the regular mode does. However, you just have to find one less clue to compensate for there not being other players. And of course, you have your full range of hands, so there's a little bit less communication you have to do there. So other than that, it plays exactly the same. Okay, so that's my overview on 5 Minute Mystery. If you'd like to see my thoughts on the game, click on the link down below. But for now, I gotta roll.